Okay, cigarettes, you take them all out of the pack. You have the apparatus already ready. At first, very clear-cut definition between the touching, the smelling, and visualizations of your cigarettes. The first few hits are the most important ones, 3 or some hits. Those are the ones that satisfy the nicotine urge. You want to target that satisfaction, the hand-mouth thing. Even when you're not actually smoking, you're visualizing the hand, even as it's going away from your mouth, coming towards your mouth in your visualization. Even as you are inhaling, you're puffing in your visualization. And it's basically like one of those movie type tricks where it snakes through the ear, sort of like your mouse cursor if you put it on some kind of like an echo or tracking system. So you're seeing yourself keeping smoking, the hand-mouth thing. You're telling yourself you're enjoying this. You're not trying to stop. You're not thinking about stopping. You're doing it as normally as possible. When you take them out of the cigarettes, immediately you're going to smell the cigarettes. Take them out of the pack. I'll put them on the table so you can smell the fresh tobacco smell. You're going to read everything on the label. You're going to look even at the little designs, the little lines on the cigarettes. You're going to actually visualize the smoke coming through the cylindrical object. The smoke, white smoke actually coming through between the tobacco leaves, through the filter into your mouth, through your lungs, your cardiovascular system as it's going to your brain. You're visualizing the whole event as pain is snatching away your thoughts as often as possible, especially at first, like I said, because that's the one to satisfy the great satisfaction for the nicotine. The satisfaction itself is causing the pain. It is a byproduct of the satisfaction, is this physical pain when it is in contact with the cigarettes as soon as you start touching. When you put the cigarette out, as soon as you let the cigarette go, you turn it off and turn it immediately down so it does not, you don't start it up again on the next cigarette and it's turned all the way up. But when you're looking at the cigarette, a lot of times it will get stuck to the wires or whatever you might be using, and when you let go of it, it kind of sticks. So when you turn it off, it's still kind of like hanging off of one finger, and that's not really convincing your eyesight that the cigarette itself is causing it because it cuts off before. So the optimum, the best way is for it to immediately, as you see it, leave your fingertips, the pain to stop. Because there's a part of your mind that will believe this is coming, if it sees it, from the cigarette. And that's, we're talking, getting every part of the mind possible that could associate this event with pain. Okay, I did this for 3 days. I had a dimmer switch. I didn't have a what do you call it, a TENS unit. And the device was brutal. It doesn't work like it used to before. I used the Leviathan dimmer switch and hooked up some wires. There's web pages that show how dimmer switch Faradism or something. But it doesn't work the same anymore. You have to get an electrician to help you with that, in case you can't find a shock box. But I smoked the cigarettes, did what I was telling you, smelling them as much as possible, and all the other things that go with the targeted events, which is the actual thinking, the craving, and the behavior of the smoking and ingestion of the tobacco smoke, the satisfaction. You're targeting all that to now be re-registered into another part of your brain that considers these things to be negative, painful, uncomfortable, negative for whatever aversive reason, shame, humiliation, any kind of stress, and to refile it to a part where it does not think or want it, i.e. crave it. It will stop. It stopped me. First day, nothing happened. Smoked the regular pack something a day. Next day, smoked again. Was in Chihuahua, Mexico. The next day, smoked again. But that day, I ran out of cigarettes. It's 3 days I had used this thing. Nothing had altered at all. Smoked as much as I wanted to. You smoke as much as you want to. Even more than you want to. If you think about it, smoke. That's what you charge you to need. The instant you start thinking about a cigarette, you want to start absorbing pain. So I went to sleep. And then the next day, went the whole day without thinking about a cigarette, laid down my head to rest. And as I laid my head to rest, I had the thought, verbatim, of, I can smoke today. I wonder. Just like that. And just went off into my days. And the next day, exactly the same thing happened. As I laid my head down to rest, exactly the same thing happened, exactly the same way, but this time it's like, and I smoked for a couple of days. And I wonder. I went back to sleep, didn't think about it, because I had run out of cigarettes. And I hadn't gone to the store to buy any. I just didn't think anything about it. I ran out of cigarettes and just, I don't know. Third day. As I laid down my head to rest, I popped back up, sat up, and I said, oh, hell no, I know I quit. It's been 3 days. And it's a very beautiful, powerful feeling that I would want to share with my worst enemy. Because when you really hate smoking stuff, it's a great feeling to not be a slave to it anymore. Same thing with the crack. Even better with the crack. But I believe there needs to be an aversion to smoke developed, because you're also turning the cigarette over and letting it bathe your hand. You're telling yourself that the smoke, as it's bathing your hand, is what's causing the electricity. You forget about the wires, you don't think about the box, and you keep turning that thing up slowly, just slightly, until it's very tolerable. That's very important at the very first start, because the first few puffs would satisfy of the cigarette. But the first day or two is so-so, right? And then I would turn it up. At the first day it's so just convincing yourself, your subconscious, that this is now producing this added thing, this electrical irritant. This happens to be happening now. It's slowly it develops like, okay, well now it's happening. So now it's happening and it's causing pain. This thing is now intolerable. And hopefully sooner than later, it associates appears the smell, very important, the smell, because you're also smelling it as you're turning it up. Ideally, turning it up as it's going towards your mouth, smelling it is important, so that you associate those things. So that's, the cigarette or smoke aversion, crack, same thing. Turn it up as much as you can take it. And you smoke cigarettes, I would do that first. If you use a lighter, then it's the striking of the lighter, the sound of it. Whatever you do, like mine was rolling the cigarette ashes around in the ashtray, that was sort of a game, I guess, you play, like if it's a toy while you're between puffs. It gives your hand something to do, you're distracted, which is what people smoke for. Whatever it is that you do while you're smoking, realize you would want to be by yourself while you do this, because you develop an aversion to the person you're talking to also. If later on you have a pain, let's say you strike your hand, it's a very cold day, your hand's almost frozen, it'll hurt. You think about cigarettes, like if it's holding a cigarette while your hand is in pain. Take advantage of any pain that you might have, cause yourself inadvertently. This is only necessary maybe at first with cigarettes. The first time I quit smoking, it only lasted 3 months. But then I did it after that, and it lasted a year. It lasted longer and longer periods of time. Every time you touch the cigarette or the cigarette pack, you should, when you start touching it, be shocking yourself. If you're using matches to light your cigarettes, and it's also the sulfur smell of the matches. If you're drinking coffee while you're doing this, it's worked for coffee also with me to quit drinking coffee. So you could do that also, but I would focus on smoke being a target as a specific target to start with if you've never done aversion therapy before. So you can start training your mind on specific things that are going to cause it aversion.